Miceli today. Before I start, there's some other people I got to speak about. First off, Teresa Martin, Sister Teresa Martin. She gave me my start here as a baseball coach. To me, she was Lady Steinberg. Why do I say that? As all us coaches know, we have to go to the other side to bring over applications, financial aid forms and all that stuff. So if you see her, actually you gotta say, hello, Sister Teresa. Hello, Coach, how we doing? And this is my first year, so I had to recruit. And she would say, how's the recruiting going? Going good. Which led to me getting Eric also. She said, you're guaranteeing me a championship next year, are you? So that's why I called her Lady Steinberg. It was like, you had pressure on you. But you know what? She was a great lady that I knew and stuff. I got one more story I got to tell. Everyone knows Willie Randolph, the former Yankee player, coach with the Yankees. We were fortunate to have his son Andre play here. And Andre had a great career. He even wound up getting drafted by the Yankees. So back in 1999, this is when Interleague started. Andre had already visited. Willie and his wife Gretchen come and visit. So he comes into my office, we have like a 9 o'clock visit set up and all that stuff. He goes, Coach, I'm glad we're having a visit. I said, well, I hope you like it. No, that's not the reason why. Since 5 o'clock this morning, people are calling me up for tickets, because this was the start of Interleague play. Who were they playing? The Mets that night. So his phone was ringing, he just wanted to get out of the house and all that stuff. I'm sure if it was a rainy day or whatever, they still would have said this. He just wanted to get out of the house. So I take him around campus. I introduced him to Sister Teresa. Now, I didn't say this is Willie Randolph from the Yankees. I said this is Mr. and Mrs. Randolph. Hopefully their son Andre's going to come here. Okay? Bring him back to campus, the other side. Mr. Randolph gives me Andre's application, financial aid forms, which he wasn't going to qualify for any, but we gave him a nice scholarship. I bring that information over back to the Lodi campus. All of a sudden I hear it in the background, is that the baseball coach? I'm like, what? I'm getting fired today. All right, yes it is, sister. Step into my office. Yes, sister. We had a special celebrity here. I said, yes, we did. How come you didn't tell me? I said, well, keep it low key and all that stuff. I'm sure you see them on TV all the time. It doesn't matter. When we have special people, you let us know. We want to treat them like royalty. So the one thing I learned when I was recruiting at Felicia, do not recruit celebrity sons, unless you're going to hear from Sister Teresa. I also want to thank Bob Simmons, J.R. Dinala, for giving me the opportunity to be the first baseball coach. It was a dream of mine to get this program going in the right direction. I was here for 3 years, 1 year of recruiting, 2 years of coaching. But not only that, you got Chris Lang here right now. He's got the baseball program as one of the elite programs, if not the Northeast, throughout the country. And sooner or later, he's going to get into the College World Series. But again, Bob and J.R., thank you very much. We also have another special person here who I want to thank. And I didn't meet him here at Felicia. I met him when I went to NJIT following him here. Mark Antone. Why do I say that? You're a young, or he's a young man. Well, he's a young man, right, Mark? The point I'm trying to say is this. You've got a Division I sports information director who puts hard work, time into the athletic department. He was feeding me notes prior to me going to be speaking about Eric. So Mark, I'm glad we're friends and we'll always continue to remain friends. I also want to thank Dr. Alfredo Castro for his support and Dennis Husband. Just want to tell you a story about Dennis Husband. Our second year, it's our first year we're Division II. So we go down to Florida. We're playing Tampa, who's the number 1 team in the country, and we're also playing St. Leo's, the number 20 team in the country. So I told our players, if we win, we're going to Leroy Sullivan Steakhouse because we're playing Tampa, and I'm going to buy a steak. Well, the first game we played St. Leo's, the 20th in the country. We had a 7-1 first inning, and I know Eric big hit that inning because we batted around that inning, so I knew he came through. So we win the game 9-7. I come down the line, ready to talk to the players. Oh, they didn't care about what I was going to say. All they kept chanting was steak, 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 steak. And one of our players goes, "What's our meal money limit?" So, but the point I'm trying to say is, I didn't notice that Dennis Huzzy had donated half the bill out of his own pocket. So I wish Dennis was here because I'd like to thank him. Thank him about that. John McCaffrey Miceli, thank you for letting your son play for me. He's one of my favorite players. No matter what level, college, youth, high school. And I'm glad we're here together tonight. I'm glad that you advised him, if you did, to take a decision to come here. How did I discover Eric? Well, one of the people who he's friends with that I was going to hire as an assistant coach, Dan Gilligan told me about it. He says, "Coach, you got to get this kid. This kid can hit with anyone. It don't matter who, he can hit." Okay, so now I go see him play. The only thing, our first year of playing, he wasn't going to be with us in the fall. He had to take care of some credit work at Morris County College. But this is how you become a good recruiter. And I've already let Chris Lang know how to do this. I was also an umpire. So I made sure I knew the league every day and I umpired his games. Well, this was part of the recruiting deal. When I had to play, whenever he got up to play, the strike zone was that big. Because I didn't want to ring him up striking out and him arguing and say, "I'm not coming to Felicia." So I got to see him play there, and then the recruiting process, show him campus, bring him around. And I had to deal with only one other D2 school, St. Rose up in upstate New York, but 3 Division I schools. FDU, where I was an assistant coach at before coming here, LIU and St. Peter's. So you're sweating it out because Mr. Simmons hired me in February. I had to start a team in September. So it was a 7-month period. So I had to hustle and go see players and try to get players. And he gave me the good news. It was big. And I'm glad he's going into the Hall of Fame. Some of the things that Eric brought to our team. Great work ethics and practice. I remember we used to practice in here sometimes with the plastic stuff on the floor to practice indoors because maybe I had an event the next day, so this brings back memories. He was a leader on the baseball field. Playing the game the right way, hustling on and off, picking up a player when they were down. He was that type of player. Similar to Derek Jeter. And this is ironic, Derek Jeter got inducted this year too. He helped Felicia our first 2 years. We made the conference one both years. He was a big factor to it besides the other great players that we had in the program who hopefully will be inducted into the Hall of Fame down the road. Whenever there was a big challenge, he always came through. Needed a big hit, Eric Miceli. Needed a big play, Eric Miceli. He always came through. As a matter of fact, when I brought him on a recruiting visit, we used to play at Pleasant Field. Now, Godzilla came in and blocked the ballpark. So, I showed him, I said, "Eric, here's the deal. If you should hit a home run, I'll take you out for lobster." Well, he just reminded me about it tonight, so I got to set a date with him for lobster, because our first home game at President Field, his first at bat, he put one to deep center field. You know President Field, the dimensions are wrong. It had to be about 440 feet. So Eric, you pick the date, we'll go for lobster, okay? Above all the qualities I've mentioned, this young man was a D1 baseball player. Hands down. Hands down. And here we are, Little Felician College at the time. We get a player of this magnitude to play for us. Just give you some of his numbers. And they're pretty good. Lifetime batting average, 391. The senior year, 413, when we made the jump to Division II. First year we were NII. So we made a jump up, and actually the baseball was better. As I said, he always met the challenge. He had 26 doubles in his career. 2 triples, 9 home runs, 86 RBIs in 74 games. That's unheard of, averaging more than an RBI a game, whether it's a season or career. He had a slugging percentage of 630. On base percentage of 442. His senior year, it was 478, because he developed a reputation as a junior, and teams were afraid to pitch them. When usually that happens, guys get anxious at the plate, get jumpy. Not everything. He played the course, and he hit higher than his junior year. And he only struck out 27 times in 2061 at bats. To strike out only 1 time almost every 10 at bats, that's pretty darn good. Not today's baseball where guys are striking out every other at bat. And he had an on-base percentage for his career of 1,072. One of the things that I'm pretty good at here when I was at Felician, I can also play matchmaker. And I was fortunate when Eric came here in the spring of 2000. He was fortunate to meet his wife, Katie, who was nominated as one of the top 25 players in the first 25 years of Felician athletics. So I hope the marriage is the same way. I'm very happy. His honors here. First 2 years he was CACC first team selection. In those 2 years, I can't believe not one of those years he was playing in the conference. That 2001 year, which was our last year of NAI, first team all-region NAIA, honorable mention All-American NAIA. Division, when he jumped to Division II, again, I'm surprised he didn't make anything, but he still had a very good year. But that year, the New Jersey sports writers started nominating players, and that year he was, in 2001, selected first team on a Division II, Division III team. And again, that year he didn't pick player, or else he would have got it. Eric, I want to thank you for letting me recruit you, coach you, develop you as a person, and most of all, let me present you to the class of 2021 Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach, for the kind words. To be honest, I didn't know any of those stats. It's kind of nice to hear them. I really had no idea. First, I'd like to thank Felician University Athletics Hall of Fame Committee. I'm truly grateful for even being considered, let alone inducted. To be a part of Felician history forever, alongside so many great athletes, so many great coaches, and so many great contributors. It's a truly humiliating honor. It hasn't set in. Brandon and Mark in particular. Let's see if this works better. Brandon. No. Got it out. Brent. Brendan and Mark in particular, thank you both for all that you've done for my family over the past few weeks. There's no way we could have stood that up so quickly. Getting everybody to the table, getting them here, everything coordinated for everybody else, truly amazing. And it's been a wonderful night. Rob, Sierra, Nikki, and the 2009-2010 basketball team. Each of you have left your own unique and special mark in the record books at Felician University.
But now, when records fall, which as they're meant to do, your legacies will live on forever at Felician University. Congratulations to each of you on your inductions into the Felician Hall of Fame. As it's been said before tonight, I'd be remiss by not offering a special congratulations and, more appropriately, a special thank you to the late Sister Teresa Mary Martin, the single most influential person in Felician University history. History that simply wouldn't be for many of us, having not been for her tremendous work. So thank you. Sorry. So thank you for not only having a voice, but for using that voice to ensure athletics and inclusion would be forever a part of the university. For knocking that over. I want to thank all of my coaches and teammates, and I'll get to you, Coach Ward, in a sec. There's obviously too many to name, and not just here at Felician, but all of them, from T-ball right on up. Every single one of them is a part of the player and person that I became, even the bad ones. And I had a really, really bad one. He was a doozy of a coach when I was 13 or 14 years old in Florida. That's another story for another day, though. He was something special. Coach Ward, thank you for being so darn persistent in recruiting. Thank you for having faith in me as a player to write me in the lineup every day. Thank you for always making me feel like I mattered. Thank you for being a great coach and an even better friend. So much of who I am and what I have today is because of you. You changed my world on the day that we met, and I'm eternally grateful for all that you've done. I'm good as long as
Are you sure?
There's a famous quote by former NFL great Bob Lilly. And if you don't know who he is, he's an NFL Hall of Fame defensive tackle who played with the Dallas Cowboys in the 60s and 70s. An iron, yeah, this works.
An Iron Man with an unrivaled love and passion for the game of football. In his 14 seasons, Lilly never missed a game. Not because he wasn't injured, but because his drive, determination, and the passion for football simply wouldn't let him. After retiring, Lilly said, and I quote, "I think when you're parents of a gifted athlete, the best thing in the world you can do is encourage them. My dad didn't push me, and I didn't push my kids in athletics. In today's youth sports, and because of my own purview, baseball, I truly believe that coach and parent pressure is the single most destructive force to a child's athletic development. In these unnecessary pressures, they completely remove the experiences that I had when I was a child that drove me to love the game. Thankfully, I was one of the lucky ones. My parents never pushed me more than I needed to be pushed. They gave me the right amount of positive reinforcement and always encouraged me to be the best that I could be and not the best that others wanted me to be. And it was that mentality that allowed me to develop my own love for the game, not someone else's, and at my own speed, with my own drive dictating that tempo. A drive that would eventually turn to passion and push me to want more for myself. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for never crossing that line. Thank you for teaching me that kids need to have fun. Thank you for teaching me that nothing replaces hard work. Thank you for teaching me the fundamentals when no one else would. Thank you for showing me that family comes first and to never let anything or anyone ever get in the way of that, not even baseball. Thank you for moving us to Florida when you did. And thank you tenfold for moving us back when you did. I cheated the system. I got way better at baseball and got back in time to not lose my mind. And most of all, thank you for always being there without fail and without question. It was your unconditional love and support, especially during those years when I didn't make it easy, that shaped me into the player that I was, and more importantly, into the man that I've become. Words can't express how thankful I am for having the life that I have, and I love you both so much for making that possible. So, why Felicia? Good question. It was the summer of 1999, small town USA. Every Morning by Sugar Ray was playing on every radio. I had just finished up my final season at the County College of Morris. And like Coach Ward said, my visits to the short lists of schools went well. So well that I had scholarship offers from 3 Division I schools: FDU Teaneck, St. Peter's, and Long Island University. I had a difficult but fortunate decision to make. And luckily, I wasn't finishing school until December, so I had a little bit of time to make it. That summer, following one of our games, an umpire introduced himself to me. Hey Eric, great game today. My name's Coach Ward. I coach baseball at Felician College. First ever baseball team there. And oh, by the way, Dan Gilligan is one of my assistants. Little context, which you've heard earlier. I went to high school with Dan, played baseball with Dan. He is, and was, a very good, close friend of mine. Thought to myself, interesting. What the heck is a Felician? Where is this so-called college? I'm using one of my friends to recruit me. Well played, sir. Well played. Funny thing, Dan never coached a game. He accepted an invitation to play independent baseball that summer, and I didn't see him again until the next year. To make a long story short, I started at Felician that spring semester. My first day on campus was super busy. Moving in, making sure meal plans, books, everything else was taken care of. I also hadn't met 90% of the team. So we had a short meeting before dinner with Coach. Later that night, my roommate and I were lounging around, calling it an early night, when we got a call from the guys from the team. They were hanging out in one of the softball suites, and we heard girls, and early night went out the window. On we went. That night, I was introduced to a cute freshman softball pitcher from Pompton Lakes, Katie Quigley. The only thing I remember thinking, oh man, I really hate Pompton Lakes. 3 years earlier, they beat us in the county finals when I was a senior. And to add insult to injury, her brother and my brother-in-law was on that team. Anyway, the night must have gone well, and I must have left quite an impression on her. She followed me around for the next 2 years. 5 years to 10 years. She's still following me 20 years later. Truth be told, I followed her. I'd get lost without her, to be honest. All joking aside, to me tonight is about so much more than baseball. It's about all the tremendous opportunities baseball has opened up for me. It's about everyone I've met because of the game of baseball, each of whom have inspired me in some way to be a better me. This is also my chance to say thank you to those I haven't had a chance to thank, or I simply don't thank enough. My teammates, my family, Felician University, Coach Ward, and especially the game of baseball. All of which are responsible in some way for writing my story. All in all, I spent a little over 2 years at Felician, and it's given me more in return than I could ever repay. The love of my life, Katie, our 3 boys, Ryan, Luke, and Colton, a second family in the Quigleys that I love like my first, an education that has afforded me the ability to provide for my family beyond necessity, and now an induction into the Felician Hall of Fame. I couldn't think of a better happily ever after. Thank you all. Have a great night.